I was starting over on the carnivore diet, here is what I would do. These are the steps that I would take. These are the things I would keep in mind. This is what I've learned in the last 14 months of eating a carnivore diet. Since starting a carnivore diet for weight loss and autoimmune inflammatory issues, I lost inflammation, I lost weight, I gained mental clarity, I gained energy, I have, clear skin, I have put my autoimmune issues into remission. I got my life back. I got my brain back. I have better relationships. I have corrected my metabolism. All my lab markers are where they should be. They're optimal. My hormones have stabilized. It's just affected everything. It's given me my life back. And so I want to share with you, if you are just now, if you're feeling, if you're middle-aged, if you're having trouble with, weight gain and weight loss and just no energy, and you want to try out carnivore, here are my suggestions and here are some of my tips. This is what I would do again if I was restarting. And this is what I tell family members and loved ones that want to try this. Don't worry about, doing it like me. You got to figure out what's working for you. We have learned together what a proper human diet is and what that means for us. And of course, they have drastically different needs than I do because I'm an old lady. I'm 48. I have not ever looked as young as I do now. Even in my 30s, before I gained a lot of weight, I don't know, I had a lot of inflammation because I developed autoimmune issues and inflammatory issues in my early 20s. The first thing I would do, your goals are, there are a lot of different camps of why people come to carnivore diet, if it's to reverse serious chronic lifestyle illnesses because, you're trying to lose weight. For me, I was trying to lose weight. I had a reaction to something. I started searching for elimination diets. I found Michaela Peterson, and that kind of put me in the autoimmune and weight loss camp. I started cold turkey straight off, right out of the gate on January 16th of 2023. I think it's important to tell yourself, okay, most people that start a diet are like, oh, I'm going to try to get my summer body, and I'm going to start and do it for, 90 days for 3 months. Around 30 days, I decided to do 90 days. So I would definitely do 90 days. Just to try it. You don't have to decide, oh, well, I have to do this for the rest of my life. I wouldn't think about it that way. I would just think, okay, this is my goal. This is my end date. The first benefit that I noticed was a drastic reduction in water weight, inflammation, that kind of thing. I had a lot of inflammation in my face, in my torso, a lot. And so I lost probably 12 pounds in really quickly. And a lot of it was water weight. That was a really great indicator of, oh, I can do this for 3 months, or I can do this for another, month. So I would set a goal of a specific amount of time. A really good sweet spot is about 90 days. Next thing that I would do is I would keep it simple. I went out and I bought like a whole bunch of lamb and like grass fed and grass finished and just this wonderful, expensive meat, these meat cuts that I had never prepared before. I didn't know a lot about how to prepare meat well, and I didn't even like meat that much. I had not consistently eaten red meat for years and years, maybe a hamburger and maybe taco meat occasionally, but I didn't like meat, and that's something I hear all the time. Oh, I could never eat only meat. I just think that's because, we're addicted to carbs. Just keep it simple. Okay, beef, butter, bacon, eggs. Do the triple B&E challenge. Hamburger that you like, steaks that I like, it took me a while to like ribeye. I didn't like ribeye. I always liked leaner meats You don't worry about all of that. Beef, butter, bacon, eggs, that's going to get you covered. The third thing that I would do, find a community. Tap into the community. Start watching the videos. Dr. Barry's community, the Proper Human Diet community. I joined that. It's like, oh my goodness, these, I can join this for as little as $5 a month. Heck yeah, I'll do that, because I had a lot of questions that are more, based on, I was concerned about heart disease and heart attacks and blood pressure and, type 2 diabetes because I was pre-diabetic and those kinds of things, and hormones and thyroid, that kind of thing. So you can ask all kinds of questions. There's a wealth of knowledge in that group. I'm in like 3 of the mentors groups. So you can find a lot of help from people that have done it and that are living it in the same stage you're in, you know, the same spot. And that is priceless. Joined Dr. Barry's community. Around 5 months in, I started having issues of, I was not eating enough. I knew that I was not eating enough protein and I just needed more help. I decided to join Kelly Hogan's group, monthly group coaching. And that has changed a lot because that is it's a small group that you meet with, you know, once a week for a month. And the amount of work and research that Kelly Hogan puts into that group is boundless. It's just so much. And then I joined the same group. So every month I just do a recurring monthly meeting and I get to see a lot of the same people that, you know, I had only followed on social media, and to see them and talk to them and share, and this is what I'm going through, that has made a lot of difference. It's taught me a lot. It's given me resources and tools that I can teach my family. And, you know, hey, let's figure this out together in troubleshooting. You know, reach out to people on social media. Everybody I've ever reached out to has always responded. There are groups. Tap into that because it can be isolating. It can feel like, you know, it's counterculture, right? Whatever part of the spectrum you're on with, you know, a carnivore diet, a high protein, whatever you want to call it, a proper human diet, it can feel like a little bit isolating. And when you find those people that are doing it too, and that are, you know, the same age as you and have the same issues, because frankly, almost everyone I know has metabolic health issues. You know, doing your own research through YouTube and reading and research and books and listening to anecdotal stories. Personally, I am much more inclined, and I think most people are much more inclined to say, hey, that person is doing this. I want to try that. I want to get those results. Start researching and learning about yourself and trying it and experimenting with yourself. It's your body. It's your choice. You get to make the choices. You get to make, you know, you get to live your life. Nobody gets to tell you what to eat. Nobody's telling me what to eat. And I'm not telling you what to eat. I'm just eating what works for me and makes me the healthiest. It's helpful to measure so you can manage. Do that however you feel comfortable. Look at that guy. Do what you're comfortable with. If you don't feel like getting on the scale, don't do it. Just do measurements, you know, maybe measure your waist. There are 5 markers of metabolic health, and some of them you can manage, you can measure on your own. Your height and waist ratio, that's a good indicator of metabolism. If you have a much wider waist than you are tall, that kind of thing, you can look that up. You can measure blood pressure. If you have high blood pressure, that's an indication of metabolic dysregulation. An average blood sugar, which is typically a blood test called an hemoglobin A1C. You can get some blood work done and then you can measure. But do some journaling, take pictures, make a video. You don't have to show anybody. And then you can look back and see the difference, because when I was 60 days in, I was feeling much better and it spurred me to continue, but I look significantly different now. Like you can see a lot of the inflammation is gone. Everything about me looks different. So, and honestly, I do look younger. So I would definitely think about ways you can measure it. Whatever will work for you, whatever you're comfortable with, but do some kind of measurement so that you can manage those things and you can notice, okay, after 30 days, this is what I noticed. And then after 60 days, this is what I noticed. And that will help spur you on, because not every day is going to be easy. So this is my last tip, 5 tips. The last thing is take it one day at a time. And sometimes, some days when it's really hard and you're struggling with maybe emotional eating, which I understand that, I just need to get through this. I don't need to worry about, 3 months in the future. I just need to get through this period of time. Laura Spath talks about, waking up and having a non-negotiable for the day. Today, I just need to stay carnivore, whatever that means for me. Take it one day at a time. I did find it helpful to be a little bit mentally prepared and think, okay, I'm going to eat this and this and this today. And I'll eat this time and this time and this time. If you have a history of, restricting or yo-yo dieting, calories in, calories out, whatever, for me, I couldn't eat a lot at one time, but I did want to have, small windows of time between my meals. I do tend to eat 2 to 3 times more, or 2 to 3 times a day, with very filling, satiating food. But I did, I had problems with that in the very beginning where I didn't feel like eating sometimes, I didn't eat here and I wanted to eat later and doing OMAD, but don't worry about any of that stuff in the beginning. In the beginning, just get through the day to day because it will get easier. You will get used to making the same choices over and over. And sometimes you're not going to make the best choices and you just have to learn and figure it out, right? I went through the whole spectrum of events, birthdays and holidays. My son got married last year. It's almost been 1 year. Social occasions with, social drinking. And I managed all of those situations really well, but not perfectly by any means. But my husband and I went on a 20th wedding anniversary. We went on a trip and I was not strict carnivore the whole time, but that taught me, I learned, okay, it wasn't worth it to me to have a lot of heavy cream and, stevia and some sweeteners because for me, it just caused pain, upset stomach, skin breakout. It wasn't worth it. But I had to do that to learn what I can eat and what works for me. What is my proper human diet? These cats. Don't think about it as like a failure. It's just learning what works for you. Simple, community, set a goal for myself, do some measurements so I can manage those measurements, whatever measurements you want, and I would take it one day at a time.